of the president. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Ms. Vick, lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. I am here. Vincelette is here. Sunny Hepburn is here. Jim Bedford is here. Glenn Morton is here. And next official is here. Book back. Need a motion to approve the agenda? Make a motion. Second. There is a correction to the personnel. We have to that one is just being pulled off the agenda. Correct. We are pulling Brianna Yard from the agenda. The second person on the first page of the first study. Right there. Will you make the motion with the correction? Who will make the motion with the correction? Second by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Five ayes. RTA report. No one here from RTA. CSEA. Nobody from CSEA. Wait. Student board goes, Ms. Fish.
Good evening, everyone. The high school is currently participating in our first Spirit Week. The first football and volleyball games are on Friday, and we also have senior sunrise planned for next Friday.
CEO report. Turner Lee.
All right. Well, first of all, welcome back to school, everybody. I'm excited that brand new year. See if we can try and do this thing right. I want to say again thank you to Transportation, Child Nutrition, and Facilities for their work over the summer and at the start of this year to get things as prepared as possible and make sure that kids are fed and at school. Without them, all the fun stuff the principals get to do, would be a little more lackluster, probably a little bit quieter during the day. We got good news about the expansion project at TMS. I don't know if Barbara's going to talk about it, so I don't want to spoil it. All right, well, the expansion at TMS, it made it through DSA. We got approval yesterday. So that's a big check mark for the additional classrooms there to, be given the authority to build them, So more, paperwork and fees, but, it is what it is. We have additional interviews coming up this week for another bus driver to add to the route so that we can, make sure that as our expanding student population grows, so does our ability to offer home to school transportation. That is it for me.
Assistant Superintendent of Instruction and Curriculum, Ms. Lacy.
Good evening, everyone. Our office continues to be super busy. We're still enrolling kiddos every single day. So Anna's very busy enrolling our students. April is doing all kinds of things with our intra-districts and bus passes, intra-districts, all kinds of different things. Yesenia has been contacting all of trying to contact or attempting to, and contacting all the parents and students that have been absent over a certain amount of days to make sure that they know that school has started, are they going to continue to attend or try to figure that out? So we've been super busy. Noemi's been out on different campuses, most especially TMS and the high school, talking to all of the EL students personally about discussing their goals for EL and their school, as well as talking to them about doing well on the assessments and ensuring that they try their best to be successful on those. She also has set up English 3D, which is our ELD, designated ELD curriculum for 4th through 12th grade. So she has that training going on this week, secondary this week, and elementary will be getting their training next week. Our backpack distribution went really, really well. We still have some backpacks left. This year we did a black and a gray backpack. So this is what the black one looks like. They're the same, very high quality that we sent out last year. One of the comments that we had gotten from parents and staff members was that we had only the one color. I tried to get other colors, but for some reason any color other than black and gray was way more expensive for backpack. So I did get 150 black and 150 gray. We are all out of black, and this is the very last one of the black backpacks, and quite a lot of the gray have already been gone. So we're going to send out the rest of keep some here for any of the new enrolling homeless or foster youth to provide for them as they enroll, and then send the rest out to the school sites to distribute to any student that is in need. But they are super nice backpacks, and inside, let's make sure I open up our pool. There's all kinds of different compartments. I don't know if that's good or bad. We did, one of the other things that we got a comment from staff and from parents was that they would like a hygiene, personal hygiene little thing in there. So we got some of those with deodorant, shampoo, toothpaste, and that type of thing. And then we have a nice binder with folder and utensils and different things inside. So every student that got a backpack also got all of those items. So I just wanted to share with you, and then I put a gray one up there so you can see what that kind of looks like as well. But this, like I said, this is our very last black black one. Apparently next year I know to order more of the black and less the gray. I've been doing a lot of training for the FPM, the monitoring that's coming up this year, October 31st and through September 2nd, I think. November, thank you, Leanne. My brain's not functioning well. Anyway, so I've been doing a lot of training for that and talking and communicating with the CBD person that's our rep for our program monitoring, and so we're getting all set up for that, so we're good to go.
Associate Superintendent of Human Resource Service.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's had a great start to the school year, and thank you to everybody for working so hard in getting everything ready. All of our certificate staff, classified staff, administrators, everybody has done a great job, and everybody's working hard. So certainly appreciate that. It is great to know that we got approved for some additional classrooms because our numbers are definitely up this year. We've already had to shift a K teacher at Roseman Elementary to TK because we had like 40 of those little guys running around in one classroom. That was a lot of little bodies. So
We didn't have extra adults.
we did, yes, we did provide extra adults until and that new class started today, and we certainly appreciate the willingness of Mrs. Torres to move from kindergarten to TK to take that position. So that was, that was a great move for the students and the staff. So, again, we are high in some areas. We, at this point, we're keeping an eye on all those numbers. But space is an issue, and then of course finding teachers to fill that overage is also definitely going to be an issue for us. We still have some of the same openings that we are currently filling with subs, but we are always looking for people. And you'll see on the personnel items, we do have a lot of subs that are on the agenda to be approved tonight. So that is a good thing. So that's it for me.
Superintendent Gaines, yours.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here this evening and for our audience at home who are tuning in to our board meeting. I want to piggyback on what Mrs. Hargis was saying. Our numbers are up. They appear to be pretty stable at this point. I realize we're only day 6 into it, but we are at around 3,700 students, which is considerably an extra 160, 170 students from where we left in June. So I would welcome all of our community students and those who are seeking inter-district transfers to come to Southern Kern. I also want to say that in listening to my site administrators this past few days, I know that they've been dealing with some issues, temporary issues on their campuses, and I just want to applaud them and say I can't thank you enough for making sure that master schedules are working to the best of the ability to benefit all of our students. I also want to say that we know that our teachers had some professional development before the opening of the school, and you can see the excitement. I had the pleasure of attending Dr. Doug Fisher with our elementary teachers, and I think they enjoyed him, and I think he enjoyed his time with them as well. I wasn't there during secondary, but I'm sure it went equally as well. And they have really gone out of their way to prepare for an exciting, engaging year for all of our kids. And I also never want to forget our classified staff, because they are the glue that holds us all together. From our paraeducators to our custodians to our bus drivers to our grounds and maintenance team, we cannot put a dollar amount on their significance of what they do for each and every one of our schools. So I want to say thank you to everyone. What really excited me this year, that I'm almost afraid to say it because it could still happen, but we had such a smooth opening this year. I have to say, last year my phone, like the first, seemed like it didn't ease up for a month. It was like, okay, when are you guys going to realize I can't change the traffic at RES? Sure, I don't know what to do. I can't relocate the building. But this year, I'm afraid to say it, but I'm going to say it. I have not received one phone call about the traffic situation at RES. Do not call me tomorrow, Mari, about traffic. So I'm like, I don't know, but it's just been really, really smooth, and I credit again, everyone at the site, and I also want to thank the parents, because I think perhaps they know that there's not a whole lot we can do, and we do our best to have people out there and patrolling that traffic and getting our kids on campus as quickly as we can, and so it's been really, really pleasant just sort of waiting to see how opening days in the first week or so are going, and so far it's been really, really wonderful. So I just want to thank everybody for that, and had heard from some teachers, had some teachers email me, and they said, I've been here for, one group said, I've been here in our department, some of us have been here 23 years, some of us have been here 12 years. This is the smoothest opening we've ever had, and that's a profound statement. That speaks. That's a wonderful message to hear. So again, kudos to everybody that's making this happen. And I have a surprise for us this evening. Mrs. Shauna Tinich, who is our Paxton Patterson STEM Lab teacher at Tropico. She got to spend some time in Huntsville, Alabama at Space Camp. She was invited, and it's such an honor. Not every teacher gets invited, it's a rare occasion when you are invited to Huntsville, Alabama. So she showed me a little bit of what she did, and I had to drink a 7-Up afterwards because my stomach was, okay, I could never get invited to Huntsville, Alabama to do what she did. But I asked her to come this evening and just present to the board a little bit about what your camp was like. So, Mrs. Tinich, please.
Good evening. I am Shauna Tinich. I am the Paxton Patterson teacher at Tropico Middle School. Thank you, Mrs. Gaines, for allowing me to do that. As an aside, coolest class ever. Please come visit whenever you have the chance. We love visitors. I love visitors. We'll put you to work on some project and module in there. Come on in anytime. In June, right as school was getting out, I saw a Facebook post from Space Camp and saying, if you are a STEM teacher, please contact us. We might have some openings for you. So of course I jumped right on that and I contacted them, and immediately after they knew where I was from, what I was teaching, they said, please come. So I got a hold of Mr. Adams and Mrs. Gaines and said, can I do this? Please, can I do this? And Mrs. Gaines very kindly said, yes, go, please go. It'll be an awesome experience for you. So I was there from July 1st through July 7th when it was 108 degrees and 115% humidity. I don't advocate going to South Alabama during July. But Northrop Grumman, which is local to us, they sponsor a group of teachers. This is the first year they've done it. And they sponsor a group of teachers to participate in Space Camp basically for free. The only thing I had to figure out was my flight there. So they paid for my food, my housing, they paid for the whole camp for me so that I could learn about Space Camp and come back and teach it to kids. And, excuse me, so the plug-in for Northrop Grumman here. We had a week's full just packed. We did museum tours. The first day we did museum tour, we did something called the multi-axis trainer. We trained for a space shuttle mission just like the kids do, because the kids were at Space Camp at the same time. We trained for a space shuttle mission, and then we also began doing something called a mission patch design, which I will get to more later. Part of my tour, the one in the middle is one of the solid rocket boosters from one of the space shuttles. At this point, they were sandblasting it. That's why it looks so weird. They were sandblasting it, getting it ready to repaint. Okay, so now to make it, just click it again. So this is me in the multi-axial trainer. I'll talk while it goes. Mrs. Gaines was commenting on how she would need a 7-Up. It actually does not make you dizzy or motion sick at all. I get very motion sick. Will throw up in the car if I'm the passenger of anything that curves. And I was fine through this. And the way they explain it is with the 3 axes spinning, it actually spins in your stomach. So the center of those spins is your stomach. So your stomach doesn't go jostling around. Your eyes don't go jostling around. So you don't get motion sick. It seems to last forever, but it really doesn't. It's only about 45 seconds long is what they let us do it for. Part of our training for our space mission, I got to be somebody who went out and actually did the outside of the space shuttle spacewalk, so that was kind of fun. The second day, we, again, action-packed. We did something called ablative shielding. We got to talk to and listen to Homer Hickam, if any of you have ever seen or heard Rocket Boys, or October Sky was the movie. It's about his life. He's a young man from the eastern United States coal country, and it talks about how he was a high schooler when Sputnik happened, and Sputnik really got him into doing rockets, and he worked for NASA for many years, do the space shuttle missions. We learned how to fly some drones. We did some driving of some drone vehicles. We did rocketry. We built our own Estes rockets, and then the next day flew them, and we had our space shuttle mission. I haven't brought this to Mr. Shevlin yet, but ablative shielding was a blast. So, sorry, pun intended, I guess. a lot of us are old enough to know the Apollo era and the space shuttle era and how you had to have heat shields to be able to come back into Earth from outer space. And we got to build our own heat shield. And we built it out of just things that were given to us. The one that is there on the right-hand side is the one that my group built. In the middle is a picture of us like putting a propane flame to our heat shield to see if we could keep an egg alive. So on the back side there, you can kind of sort of see an egg sticking out the back. Air temperature that day was 106 degrees with a propane flame less than 2 inches away through the heat shield. Our egg lived. He was not hard cooked or anything. This is something I would really love to do with my students. Bringing this back, we have a lesson plan, all of the ways to keep it safe. I would really love to do something like this with a student because it brings in their engineering skills. It brings in problem-solving skills. It brings in, I failed, what do I need to do to try again to possibly be successful the next time? And it's just darn fun. I mean, who doesn't like to play with fire and try not to blow it? So,
Not necessarily working with it.
I know, but you gotta remember, I'm a science teacher. Anything with flames is a good thing for science teachers. But I mean, this is just a perfect example of something that I can bring back to Tropico and do with the kids, and they can see, I can do that. Maybe I can work at NASA. Maybe I can go work for Northrop Grumman. Homer Hickham's always fun to listen to. He tells great stories. Everybody gets we got our signed book from him. Flying drones, oops, I already hit it, sorry. This was during our mission. The people that you see there are 24 of us total, all over the United States and Poland. We had a teacher who was in English as a second language teacher from Poland who brought 2 of her students, and she's in our group. And lovely perspective of hearing what school is like in Poland versus what school is like here. And it was just wonderful to have all of that cross-cultural experience that we got. There is me on my spacewalk. My partner and I are trying to build a contraption that will help hold up the solar sails outside of the International Space Station. Day 3, we did a breakout room. We did our rocket launches when we built those Estes rockets the day before. We did an activity called the 1-6 chair and some water activities, which you'll see, and then something called Eggs Prize. Breakout room is an escape room, if anybody has ever seen an escape room, and we just work together to solve a bunch of puzzles. Launching rockets, again, it's a nice one to do with students because they do learn a lot of trial and error. Will it work? Will it not work? Why did it work? Why did it spin? Why did it crash and burn? Why did it fly as high as it flew? You can do math, we can do science, we can do English, all right there in one fun thing. And in the Patterson lab, we don't do Estes rockets, but we do paper rockets, and we use compressed air. So we are staying safe with being so close to the Edwards flight path. We wouldn't be able to, we'd have to do a lot to get permission to fly Estes rockets. But the paper rockets fly low enough that we don't need to worry about that. But the kids last year, when I had that Paxton Patterson lab last year, they loved flying the rockets. And again, this is something that is a great tie-in to what can we do, what do our future careers look like. This is the 1/6 chair. The moon's gravity is 1/6 of the Earth's gravity, and astronauts when our astronauts in the Apollo mission were going to the moon, they actually practiced bouncing around and trying to figure out what's the best way to move. And we had to practice different ways, and the one on the left, everybody had to bunny hop. So you had to have the little hands up, and that's why I look as weird as I do. They even allow you to crash and burn, literally. We had to zip line into water, just like if in the astronauts, if they had something happen and they had to rocket out, they had to bail out, they would have to crash into the water. we did that. We were able to zip line. We did a simulated airplane crash or helicopter crash where they lower us into water. We had to escape this fuselage, and then you got into a rescue basket and got pulled out. So if you remember the movie Apollo 13, when they were pulling them out in the rescue baskets, that's what we got to do. We had to do a moon rover because NASA is not going to Mars anymore. We're sending people back to the moon. So we were doing moon rovers, and we had to build a contraption that would land on the moon and then move on the moon. So we had two different parts we had to do, and that's what we were doing here. And again, that's something that would be very easy to bring to my classroom as an engineering and design thing. Day 4, we got to talk to all sorts of NASA professionals. We were kind of given a sneak peek. It's been made public that the SLS, which is the rocket that's supposed to fly to the moon, to take people back to the moon, it's SLS-1, the Artemis project, is supposed to launch possibly the 29th of August. And we got a sneak peek of that date. My husband works for NASA, and he didn't even know that date. So that was kind of cool. We did so this is the gentleman who told us that, and he is one of the public relations people for Artemis. We did some really fun team building activities, and I would love to do the one that you see there on the left. It's a magic path is what they call it, or the moon path. You just take a piece of blue tarp and grid it out, and somebody draws a magic path or the moon path on a piece of paper and hides it from everybody, and your team has to figure out how to get through it one step at a time. And there are other ones. The one that's on the right, we were moving. The first one we had to move was a soccer ball. We had to move a soccer ball from one landing site to the next, and then it kept getting smaller and smaller, and that is a tennis ball that's on there right now. And we were using PVC piping is what we were using, but it built teamwork, ingenuity. How are you going to do that? We did it differently than another group did it. So you see that there are different paths to a solution. Space origami. This lovely young lady here is actually a first-year teacher in Huntsville, Alabama. She was our crew coordinator, so she works for Space Camp. But she was doing space origami. A lot of the stuff that goes out into space for things like the International Space Station is too big to go out in one piece in the size that it is. So they use origami, the properties of origami, to fold things up, like solar sails and like the solar panels. They fold up and then they unfold, and we were practicing that with some of the stuff. On our 5th day, this was our last full day, we were able to listen to an astronaut named Dr. Larry DeLucas. He's the only astronaut that is an optometrist. He went to space specifically to learn about some things to fix the eyeball and how to grow specific crystals that are used in the eye. We went to the planetarium. He's pretty fun to listen to. We went to the planetarium. We did our 2nd space mission. Here I was one of the crew coordinators in mission control. And our space mission was going to relieve a group of astronauts that were already on the moon. And we were putting another group, so we were swapping out astronauts on the moon and doing different experiments as on both ways, to and from. The gentleman in the lab coat is one of the coolest men I've ever met in my life, and I only talked to him for 35 minutes. He is an engineer who worked on the Apollo missions. He worked on the last of the Mercury missions. He was an employee of IBM for 3 decades. And if you've ever used your cell phone to take a picture of a check so that you can deposit it in your bank account, it's thanks to this man. He wrote all of the coding for that. And we got to sit and ask him crazy questions for half an hour at lunch. That was graduation, our whole team getting to graduate. The other part that I told you I would come back to it, this is our mission patches. NASA, if you have not ever seen, every mission that NASA does, their crew is allowed to create a mission patch. And a lot of times that mission patch will include components of what their mission is doing, but it'll also include personal components of the people that are part of the mission. One that I think of is the schooners. There was one Apollo mission where all of the astronauts were from Oklahoma. So the main part of their mission patch is an Oklahoma schooner, the wagon that was that the settlers took across the state. So we had to create our own mission patch for our team. And our mission, you have to create a story that goes along with it. So our mission patch in the middle, we are all teachers, so we made a rocket out of a pencil to represent the fact that we are all teachers and we all do learn. It's sharpened because we want all of our students to be well prepared and well ready for their future endeavors. There's an eraser at the bottom, and the dates are the dates that we were there. That was the dates of our mission at Space Camp. There are 4 apples on the left and 1 apple on the right because we were the 41st mission of the summer. We put STEM around the outside because we had a very wide variety of teachers. It wasn't just middle school STEM teachers. We had an English teacher from Poland. We had some math teachers that also teach STEM classes. But we were a very wide variety of teachers, so we put the STEM around the outside. Our team name was Harmony, so you can kind of see that there are some musical staffs to represent our team name of Harmony. The astronaut in the middle is for Space Camp. It is the Space Camp emblem. There is in the above the eraser and at the bottom of the pencil point are all of our team names, so every person is represented with their name in there. You have the American flag for those of us that were from the United States and the Polish flag for Anya from Poland. And then you can also see down at where the eraser is, on the top right-hand side of the eraser, there is what looks like just a darker pink line, and that represents Northrop Grumman because they were our benefactors. They were who took care of us there. We won the contest for best patch in our group. There were several different teams, and we were considered the best. We won that one. And my team decided we were going to have ours actually created. So we're creating real mission patches, and they're being printed right now. This is the example that the gentleman who's printing them for us, the one that's on the right-hand side, he's printing them for us, and that's what it's going to look like, and that will go on my flight suit. This is something that I've done in my classroom, mission patches I've done in my classroom for about 5 years. I come from a school district in Kansas, just 3 years, it's just my 3rd year in California at Tropico. And the school district that I came from in Kansas is a Capturing Kids' Hearts national showcase school. Hayesville, Kansas is where I came from. And part of my, oh my goodness, help me. Put it up, social contracts, I am so sorry. My social contracts with middle schoolers, I learned that by the time they were I was a 6th grade teacher, by the time they were getting to 6th grade, they were kind of overwriting social contracts the way the way we always did them. I had my students create mission patches. We would come up with our social contract, and we would put that on the wall, and at about semester when we were revisiting it again, just to make sure it was still valid, I had my students, and I still do have my students, break into groups, and they create a class mission patch out of our social contract. And then we decide which one best represents what we want for our social contract for our class, and that's what goes up on our walls for social contracts for the rest of the school. So this is something that I already do with my students. It's very successful. The kids love it. They love having that replacement of just the plain social contracts. They like having the art aspect of it. They like being creative. We learn all about NASA mission patches. So this is something that I already do, but it was kind of nice to see it done in a different way at Space Camp. That's my team Harmony, and our final team picture. So I want to thank everybody for letting me do that. It was an amazing experience as a science teacher. It really is a bucket list thing for me as a teacher. And so I really do appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that.
good one.
I have, oh,
That one.
yes, ma'am.
I just want you to, just tell the board members, last year we started Paxton Patterson top one section.
Yes, ma'am.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Could you just share with them how many sections and how many students total you have in the STEM lab?
Last year I taught one section. You all were gracious enough to approve me to teach on my prep period one section. I believe I had 16 students in that class last year. This year I'm teaching it full time. I have 5 full sections. The last I checked, it was at 208. Is it 208? Or did it go back down?
You've had 6 sections.
If it's 6 sessions? I thought okay, there was an extra class in there then, wasn't there, when we were switching it. So what are we at, 190-ish, 170? At 34 per class? Okay.
She's a science teacher.
I'm a science teacher, I don't know math, obviously. It'd be done full. It has been more popular than I think anybody really thought it was going to be. We have kids who are asking for it and we just can't put them in there. The room just isn't big enough. It's not, I don't want to say it's not safe enough, but when we get too many more kids in there, we run into children using knives and power tools. It becomes a little bit of a safety issue. So we're capping it exactly where it's at. We're not going to hopefully let too many more students in. But we're needing a little bit more of equipment because we thought we were going to have it wasn't going to be as big, and it is just it's exploded. The numbers are huge.
Right, we started with her class 2 weeks ago. We're like, oh, we're going to cap it at like 27.
Yeah.
It was 28.
And then it was 30.
At one point last week, she said 37.
At one point last week, I had 40.
40.
40.
So what we decided on doing, and it was gracious enough to is that we have a actually board, actually have a empowerment comes in to assist so that we can have that.
Yes. And she's
There's a
awesome.
second set of eyes.
Yes, there's a second set of eyes in there, which is perfect. 2 sets of eyes in there right now is exactly what we need.
But we actually had somebody that had to come out of this thing because there was a conflict. But there's already people waiting in there, so
Yeah.
This kids wouldn't even know. It's 30 got filled. That's right.
She should have 6
I have 6 periods.
Right.
6 periods.
There was 204.
It's 204. Yeah. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I
Once
just
you're
want
cut,
to,
yes.
thank you, Mrs. I just want to say that, I think, I could see why you were invited to attend this. Short of the bunny hop, I could see why I would never have been invited. I don't do water over my head, and I don't zip line, and I don't helicopters. I would have been dismissed probably day 1. But I'm so proud and so excited that you were there representing Tropico Middle School in our community, and outstanding job. And I just want to close by saying your need for additional engines and another 3D printer, I passed it on to Robert to process.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And
She
again,
does reach 25% of our parents.
yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, I was figuring that.
Okay, 25% of our students, thanks to you guys, are taking in this program.
I cannot hear you, Shelley.
We have just about 800 kids, so 25% of our school is involved in this program.
Only 7th graders.
No, I have all 3 grade
They're all
levels.
3.
Yeah, all 3 grade
That's what you
levels.
need, yes.
And I love it. I loved it. And here's a testament to the program. There were 16 students in the class last year. 5 of them were 8th graders. 2 of the 5 8th graders were not slated to be able to walk at promotion because of things that had happened with their grades. Both of those young men came to me shortly before promotion and said, Mrs. Tinich, the only reason I'm walking is because of you and because of your class. I have 11 students that were 6th and 7th graders last year, so now they are 7th and 8th graders. 10 out of the 11 are in the class, and the 11th one is really ticked off he's not. So every one of them came back and wanted to take it again. So I do appreciate you letting us do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Couple things that I have. I had the opportunity to go to sixth grade orientation, and thanks to Mr. Shevlin's constant bombarding of my email accounts, and I have 2 that I get from him. I actually went and I was extremely surprised of the amount of parents who showed up. How many parents did we estimate?
To be honest, I probably should have said, I'm glad we did it. But,
Yes.
We had to, when we started at 5:30.
Yeah.
They were lined up all the way to the gate.
Yes.
One party actually just come in and stuff. I was like, oh. So it was.
Standing room.
The whole, yes, the standing room plus then about half the gym. Yeah. And the whole thing was full.
And I appreciate you constantly sending me those emails. Hint, hint to the rest of the principals and APs. That's how I know what's going on, and that allowed me to plan to go to that sixth grade orientation. Not only was he correct in the folks standing out there in line, I stood out there in line with a couple of folks I knew from when I officiated basketball. That's scaring me because now I'm looking at kids that grew up with my kids who are now got kids going to Tropico. So it was fantastic. So don't be afraid to send me emails, and it's like, I had to count at least 8 to 10 emails that I got from Ed for that one. You might laugh, but keep them coming because it allows me to plan to come to these programs that you have. The second thing I'm going to bring about is, as we all know, our sports programs and games are starting. And I'm going to just give you the information I know about football. Football in this area, we need 50 officials. We only have 30. Which means is everybody that's going to be on that field, including myself, who would like not to be until after starting October, is going to be out there. We're going to have people out there that have no experience. We need to put the word out, sir, to the coaches to stay off the young officials, and because that's what's causing our inability to field new people coming in. They get chased, and there's no other way to put it. I put a couple of articles out. If anybody's on Facebook, you'll see it. They're coming out from some of the schools, states, and from the referee. There's actually a referee association. And that's what they're saying. So we've got to keep these folks in. I don't put up with it when I'm on the field. I mean, believe me, the coaches know that from me. But we should, as administrators and so forth, put up with it as well. If they've got an issue, you've got one guy out there on the football field who wears a white hat, talk to him. There's a rule that nobody understands and doesn't apply. That rule is that if you feel we misapplied a rule, you can call timeout, talk to the referee, and if it's correct, you'll get your timeout back and the correction. If you're not, you just lose your timeout. But nobody wants it. And you need to get that. I emphasize it when I'm on my game. But my point is, let's show the officials that walk through the door. There's a sign that we're going to put up that says, no referees, no game. It's coming to that.
Yes, so good to see you guys. Welcome to the new year. I got to make it to the kindergarten orientation at West Park, and that was a full house. Oh my gosh, I was like, where are all these people going? Like, oh my gosh. That's where all the kids are coming from, I guess. But then it turns out we had like TK people in the classroom as well. So that was fun. This is exciting. I like taking my kid to school. She loves it. I check in with other kids that I know. I'm like, hey, how's the food? And they're excited about the food. They're like, oh my gosh, like actually it's really good. I asked my daughter, what'd you get? Oh, I ate this and I like this and I love going to the cafeteria. I packed her lunch one day and she was like, no, I don't want you to send me to school with lunch. I want cafeteria lunch. She's like, okay, make my life easier. Thank you so much. No problem. Right. So
Email from you?
I saw some email, but hang on. I lost my thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we got an email from our food vendor, and I was really pleasantly surprised. Did you get one?
I think I saw something with the menu and different offerings.
Everything's on it, and
I'm hearing good things.
with, I think everybody, I don't know why you didn't get it, but I ordered it. But it's really great that we're getting that communication.
It is great. I do like the communication. I might get a little more communication from TMS about the tryouts for different sports and stuff, so I kind of.
You got a lot of communication about schedule.
That too, yeah. But anyway, no, I'm excited for the new year. I'm excited that I've got an 8th grader and a kindergartner, and I feel like I'm starting all over again with the school system and just like meeting all the parents and just being like super excited, which I'm like to be excited about stuff. So you guys are doing a great job, and whatever we can do to help, please listen. Thank you.
Well, I think we had a great opening so far. I've only had one complaint emailed to me when I talked about that yesterday. That was really something that said it was subject to change, and it changed, and he was pissed off. But that's that. Secondly, how's the bell schedule work at Tropico? You just figured it out, or? Okay. Because not a lot of people like that. I don't know. I had a lot of complaints about that, but I figured that was something that I could figure out. Right. Other than that,
Just want to thank all the staff for getting the schools ready to go. I know that's a lot of work, maintenance, and groundkeeping, and cafeteria, and everybody, just all the effort they put out. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to another exciting year. Looking forward to exciting, maybe another 4 years. I don't know if anybody's running. So if nobody's running, we must be doing a pretty good job, I guess. So we'll see what comes around at the election time. Nobody's complaining what we're doing. So everything's good. So I'm excited about for the next 4 years. Got a lot of good things planned.
I want to thank the staff for all their summer work. The summer school, it'll really pay off this year. And the kids will have to learn over the summer because they really fallen behind on issue for the last couple of years. And as far as the opening of the school, I have to say this has been the easiest opening. You guys, for the first couple of weeks, it's chaos. I really feel for you guys for your first 2 weeks because you've got scheduling issues, you've got extra students, now we're put up who's going to get what. It's crazy. I remember every year things have always been never that smooth. I remember when I was in school, which was a long time ago. My schedule was always messed up. But they always had to redo my schedule. So, thank you everybody for all the work you guys have been doing. I appreciate it. Thank you. You guys up here on this side of the table, thank you for everything you've done to prepare the teachers for the new year. And I know they've had a lot of work before being able to get back to school. And I know it's going to pay off in the long run. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to being able to finish some of the projects we've started. For the last year, we've been working tirelessly on some really interesting projects that Something I was with because sometimes it's not only the works. Hopefully we'll see some fruits of our labors soon. And with that, we'll continue on. And we have any comments from the public? I need a motion for approval for the consent items A through K. And does anybody have any questions on that?
I'll move that we accept.
We got that's the prime painting's gonna, paint the rest of the openings of the front fence and all that, right?
Yeah, we've got that.
Yeah, there's a,
And then, I just want to touch base, the full, I want to, going over all these pages, just want to make sure I understand. I talked to Barbara a little bit about it. But this is just going through what we talked about before, raising the, school fees for the, for the new homes, right?
Right.
That's all that is. Just want to make sure that.
Yeah, and Robert will give you a breakdown of it here just a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. I make a motion. A second, whatever it is.
Okay, we got a motion by Vincelette, seconded by Vincenette.
First. I think.
All in favor?
Aye.
On the next board agendas, can we get on the stuff that these two board members can vote on? Can I have a little place for her to vote? Okay. I want to hear her voice. Yes. So, honestly, on all these things that we vote on, you take them back to your council, and I want to hear their opinion on it, because everything we do here affects them. So please be their voice and let us know what they think. Thank you. No, I don't think, when we vote, there used to be a,
Okay. In a spot.
okay, thank you. Yeah, this is, discuss, historical social museum listings.
Yes, this is informational only, board members. A couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege to meet with Mrs. Gretchen Winfrey, who is head of the Roseman Historical Society. And one of the projects that they dream of achieving is to have a museum and a location for all the historical society items that have been accumulated over many years. And she would love to see that historical society sitting on a school campus. So she said, I was so happy to see what the district board members did with the bell, the Roseman Bell, that she said, I thought of bringing this project to you and your board. And so I went to Raleigh and I said, Raleigh, do we have any modulars, let's say, that are maybe not in the greatest of shape, but not being used currently? He said, we currently have 2, but then I wasn't able to get an answer from Raleigh since that time on if he was going to see if either one of them had a restroom in it, that we possibly, it could, obviously the museum would need a restroom. So I still have to touch base with Raleigh. He's been out for a little bit to see if either one of those not museums, I'm already calling it a museum, modulars has a restroom. I thought that perhaps, I also thought of a location possibly on the Roseman High campus. It could be, I don't know what the buildings are, that block of space sits there where we thought about putting a cafeteria, but it wasn't big enough. The parking lot is like right there, and there's a wrought iron gate there. We could open that gate, and the people, the students, the community members who visit the museum would not have access to the rest of the campus. I thought if the modular could be dropped in there and we could do some landscaping, this is something that all of the students in neighboring communities could come and visit. We might also use some of the high school students, maybe Mrs. Winfrey, who was a former teacher, could train them to be docents of this museum. I saw a lot of purposeful, intentional use out of us possibly supporting the Historical Society in this dream of theirs. They also said that, you know, they could help with the work and making it look more pristine, and probably the modular might look at this time. And I discussed with Robert the feasibility of perhaps Southern Kern Unified School District leasing the modular just for the sake of, for like $1 a year or something like that. So we could say that there is, you know, it's a long-term lease to them for X number of years so that we're not making money off of the modular, and they don't have to make an exuberant amount of money to open this for the community and the kids in this community and surrounding areas. So just something for the board to think about, and you may have a better location. They would like it on a school campus, and I just can't see it happening at West Park because we're bursting at the seams over there. So I thought of that area of Roseman High, and with all the new paint and everything, I thought it would really be a nice place to put the historical museum. So just informational, something for you to think about, and I'll come back with additional information once I've had a conversation with Raleigh on do we or do we not have a modular that might work.
Discussion of United Street Park.
Okay. Also had a meeting with Ms. Frances Thompson, Fran. I often get, wherever I go, whether it's to RMAC or just out in the community, I'm often asked what is the district's goals or plans for the United Street Park. And so they came to the meeting with some ideas. They believe that they could possibly raise some funds to support some of their ideas on this 10-acre parcel. So I told her that I would definitely bring this to the board as an informational item, and something that the board could discuss moving forward. Some of the ideas, and these are just, they realized that not all of these things could occur at the park, but maybe some of them might. And so these are just some of the ideas that they threw out: batting cages, turf for different areas within the park that would support soccer, youth football, little league, a dog park, a putt-putt golf, walking path, a bicycle path, additional playground equipment, or bodybuilding equipment, or some of the things that they would love to see Southern Kern. And they were asking if we had any funding that we could possibly donate, and they are looking at also getting some community donations to support some of these projects and in the form of Kern County grants. Them that I would bring this to the board as something for the board to also.
Am I allowed to say something about this? Or is it just info?
It's just information.
And why does it say discuss?
What's that?
Why does it say discuss? But it says discuss United Park. I understand it says informational, but it says discuss. I can read. But it says discuss. So, Okay, somebody should reword it, but let's move on.
That's pretty much it, Mr. President. I just wanted to share with the board some of the suggestions made by Ms. Thompson, and Joel McKay was also supposed to be here, but he was not able to attend at that meeting, and so she and I talked at length about the park and the concern for current condition of the park.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe one day we're gonna have to open it up for discussion, discuss it. I mean, there's good information right now, and
It's a worthless money pit. It's absolutely nothing.
let's see what they come up with. and We'll discuss it.
There's nothing for that park, and I can care less what anybody was promised 20 years ago about it. Like, let's be honest here, you can't put a school there. What are you gonna put a school there for 300 kids? It got problems, got a fault line. We can see now the school's had it for how long? And nothing has been done to it. And we were discussing about how much it's gonna cost for water over there. As far as I'm concerned, that park is nothing but a money pit and an eyesore, and hell, we'll sell it to the county for $1. I mean, like, that's all it's worth.
Maybe more than $1.
It's not worth it. It's absolutely disgusting. It's just a problem that's always coming up, and all these people in the community, like, come on, look at Rosemont Park. The county asked for donations on that. Did they get any? No, they ended up spending their own money.
Yeah.
So do we really think we're gonna get donations for bodybuilding equipment? We're talking millions of dollars is what she's asking for a park. Well, no, we don't got hundreds of thousands to throw out for a park, so that just needs to be checked off our list and thrown away.
Maybe we can make it a dog.
Pretty much $1 for it.
Yeah, right now, it's,
Pretty much.
the only thing is that, and of course, I'm one of the original people who came into this area. Based on my understanding, it was given to Southern Current, and we have to look at in what conditions it was given before we can make any really good decisions.
Actually, it was mandated to Southern Current.
Yes.
By the county. Anytime you build houses, you have to set aside, after you build so many houses for a school. And that's what it is.
Well, at that time, they should have just built a school or a
Well,
building or
they didn't
something,
build
not
enough
just give us
houses
a
for them to take
piece of grass. Like,
Make sure.
literally all.
We're just gonna look at the whole picture.
That's the same thing that's gonna happen. It happened over in West Point. They were supposed to build a school, but they didn't build the last 2 houses, so the public couldn't force them to build a school. But they gave us the land, and then we had to, as a community,
Can I just ask
build a
one?
school.
We as a school district are discussing United Park, which means it's what to us?
What?
We're discussing United Park, which means it's some sort of school district property, correct?
It is our property.
Okay. It is more like a public park. If you just go sit down there and watch what this damn community does at that park. So it doesn't need to be on us. Because what's gonna end up happening there one day, it's a worthless money pit and it's a liability, is what that place is.
That park was built by RCSD.
Then why aren't they taking care of it?
Well, they were for a while.
See, that's what I mean, nobody
And then
wants
they
it,
couldn't
so
afford
it's just
to keep
being
it.
tossed from RCSD, tossed to the county, tossed to Southern Park. I mean, nobody here wants to speak up about it, so they're just like, hey, it's something right now.
No, Southern Current owns the property. They just, we had made a agreement with RCSD that they could use the land for a park until we got ready to build the school. They built it. They did a real nice job of putting it together. They maintained it really well for about 10 years. And then they found that it was quite expensive to maintain the park. And they finally said, okay, we're not going to maintain it anymore. You guys can have it back. We maintained it for 5 years after that. And it got to the point where we couldn't afford to maintain it. So we had to just shut off the water and just let it
Walk
die.
you through 5 years of dollars at that park
Oh, yeah.
and look at it.
It was very nice.
Money pit.
It was very nice. It is not nice anymore.
It's not nice at all.
That's
It's
why
not
there's
nice
a
at all.
discussion as to what we should plan to do with it.
Sell it.
We'll discuss this later. Thank you for
Bring
the
it back
information,
next
Barbara.
week because it needs to be sold.
We're not doing
Or whatever, next week, because it's just, I don't even know. Come on, you can't even fit a park here. You can fit, what, 5 soccer teams, 6, maybe 7? I think if we really look at a school we're gonna build there, we might get a K through 2nd school over there.
We need to get a whole. Anyway, that's different discussion.
Yeah, well, that's wrong.
Anyways, item C, discussion and approve of safety and security subcommittee.
Yes, Mr. President. As you know, we have several board member committees that all of you serve on. We each serve on 2 committees. It was suggested that we also ask a couple of the board members who might be interested to serve on and create a safety and security subcommittee. This would probably, since most of our safety plans and safety issues are being ran through business office under Robert, this would he would probably be the facilitator of this committee, especially right now in our, as we see more and more, I hate to mention it, but shooter on campus type issues, among other safety type of issues. We are doing everything that we can to prepare our staff and our schools for to be prepared for such type of a trauma. So I just would like to see if the board would like to approve the creation of another committee that they would participate in, and call it the Safety and Security Subcommittee.
Barbara, we had discussed this in detail a lot of times with you, and I know this is a top priority for you and for the board and for everybody in the district. Do we have some type of committee already?
Nothing.
I sort of thought we had something
We have a,
Yes, we have all of the school sites have must create a safety plan. Every month they do one form of a drill, whether it is a lockdown or a lockout or a fire drill, an earthquake drill. Every year Southern Current participates in the Great Shakeout, where students actually, if there was an earthquake and now what do we do? It takes some hours to participate in that. But we feel that there is also a need now to prepare our staff, our administrators, and even our students, even our young children, just in case we ever have someone inappropriately with bad intentions come onto one of our campuses. Robert has done an excellent job of bringing the ALICE training to the high school, to the staff at Alt Ed, and also to Tropico on September 14th. And I invite any and all of the board to participate. We will have the ALICE training back 12:10. It starts at Roseman Elementary, and 12:40. I think I got that backwards. 12:10, it's at West Park, and 12:40, I believe it starts at Roseman Elementary. So they'll be here doing trainings at both of those elementary sites. So if you would like to see Alice's renowned across the nation, they have trained many school administrations and teachers, teaching staffs on how best to deal with a shooter on campus. So we feel that there's always room to learn and improve, because every time the nation suffers from one of these experiences, we learned something new of what we could do better, as we saw from our latest Ed Ball Day. So I'd love to see a couple of board members who would like to work with Robert, and Robert has also purchased items to enhance our safety buckets and make sure that we have the protein bars and the water in case even of something like whatever, like some type of a small disaster or something where we have to contain our children for even up to, an additional 24 hours on our campuses, that we have the supplies there to feed and provide fluids for the kids. So we've been working really hard to try to make sure that as many safety precautions as we can. All classrooms are now locked from the inside. Site principals are checking on that on a regular basis. So far, I've heard that.
In favor?
Aye.
6 ayes.
6 items. And I would be glad to volunteer.
Okay.
Barbara, is this, I know Robert's gonna be facilitating it, and we get volunteers from the board, but is it also, are we letting some of the teachers and staff, is it something that we could provide a stipend for, to have some compensation for it? So, because it takes extra time for them this is something that I think is really excellent. I thought, and I know we do have processes in place already, and like you said, a set of eyes where they can actually meet, make sure, checklists are done, created, all that stuff. It's a great idea. Maybe that gets more people to come out and really support this.
Once the committee is set up,
It's set up,
then we can figure out where, kind of like the fiscal committee, that we meet, meets with all the principals, and then principals have to take that to their sites and distribute the information to the rest of their staff. So, yeah, that will definitely be part of it.
It's definitely can bring on members from
Yeah,
each
I
side.
think that'd be great.
Well,
That's the intention.
That's all I want.
basically, something similar to what the base does with their security and safety. Each organization has a rep that goes and meets periodically. So that's what the intent here is.
Approve resolution 222301, adopt school facilities impact fee nexus study. Mr. Irving.
All right. So, as part of AB 602 back in January, what used to be a one resolution process for developer fees is now a two resolution process. Step one is for the board to adopt a resolution of accepting the justification study. Still a little bit of background on, just overall developer fees and everything. AB 2926, or the 1986 school facilities legislation, is what granted school districts the right to levy fees to offset the impacts of school facilities from new residential and commercial developments. So that's where the overriding, the legislature came from back in 1986. And then additionally, one of the requirements for a district to seek financial hardship with OPSC for construction projects is that they have a up-to-date justification study, and that they, are regularly updating their developer fees. Where the last time we did a study was in 2021, which was to adopt the 2020 fees, where in February of 2022, the state allocation board increased the developer fees, which I'll get more into later in the other resolution. But overall, that's the background of why, what the justification study is for, and and how it pertains to the district. So Also with the additional resolution, becoming part of this first resolution is, public notices, which we had notices in the district office for public, as well as posting with Roseman News. And as of August 5th, the report was available for public viewing on our district website on the business page, so that, folks that, if anybody had questions but then, want to come in or whatever, it was accessible to them online as well as in person. So that's really the nuts and bolts of just, whether or not, this first resolution of, you guys accept it or not.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Hepburn, second by Vincelette. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing on developer fees for school use justification study by cooperative strategies as required by Education Code Section 17620 and Government Code Section 65995. I need a motion to open it to the public. I'll move. Motion by Vincelette, seconded by Moore. We are now at 8:28. Any comments from the public? Public? Basically, the resolution is that we are going to be raising our developer fees from, what were they before, 368 or something like that?
They are currently $4.08 for residential and 66 cents for commercial/industrial.
66 cents. And we are raising that to $4.90?
$4.79.
$4.79?
And 60, what is it? Oh, I wrote down the wrong. Give me a second, sorry. My notes have the wrong number in there. Scroll to the PDF.
It's under $1.
Yeah, it's under $1. Mini storage is 3.1 cents. I remember that one because I had to double check to make sure that it wasn't supposed to be 31 cents. Because a fraction of 3 cents seems a little bit too specific.
If no one has any questions or comments on that?
78 cents.
Thank you.
Found it.
78 cents.
78 cents. I'll entertain a motion to go back to our regular meeting. Motion by Hepburn?
Yes.
Second by?
Second.
Henry? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, new resolution 222302 to increase statutory school fees implemented by two residential and commercial industrial development projects pursuant to Education Code Section 17620. Mr. Irving, this is the second half of the resolution.
Yes, this is the part two. Is now that we have a resolution approving the study, we just talked about what the change in rates will be, but one more time, it'll from $4.08 for residential to $4.79, and then from 66 cents to 78 cents for most of the commercial industrial. The only differences are it'll be 55 cents for hotel/motel, and then 3.1 cents for self-storage.
Take a motion. Make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Bender, seconded by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6 ayes have it.
So two, how much two board members?
Attention.
Prime Paving Contractors proposal for change order to our HCC. And that's for the painting of the gates and the little extras we asked for. So,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
motion by Wernher, seconded by Vincelette. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Barbara, one more thing, I just wanted to, for info only. The blue, if there's any money ever, we find an extra pot of money, if we could do the trim on all this to match that, that would be,
I know it, doesn't it? Look at it.
that looks really nice.
I can't tell you how many people, Mr. Bender, have come to me and said, ask me the same thing, is there any way you can get rid of that light blue? I'm like, little by little, up there. But yes, the blue is beautiful.
If they happen to leave a few gallons of paint, let us know.
Okay.
I'm tired. Approve AB 1200 disclosure cost approval of the tentative agreement with the bargaining unit for California California School Employees Association. And it's Roseman Chapter 587. Mr. Herb.
All right, back to them. So AB 1200, this is the financial disclosure of the cost of potential raises in the tentative agreement. Between the on-schedule 4%, 3% off-schedule, and increased cost to statutory benefits of STIRS, PERS, Social Security, all that fun stuff. Total cost is estimated at $613,790,000. A little bit of a mouthful there, but if you look at the second page of the disclosure, the amount for the statutory, the LCFF base COLA more than covers the cost of these raises, so impact the budget, the original budget without the 45-day revise would be, factoring in that LCFF base, there would, there's still more revenue than expenditure on that side of everything. So.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Hepburn, seconded by Vincelette. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve memorandum of understanding between Southern Prairie Unified School District and the California School Employees Association regarding the increase of hours for ASS after school program. Coordinators, 3 positions, and campus safety officers, 2 positions.
Yes, this is a memorandum of understanding between CSEA and the district. We agreed that they asked for an additional, was it 1 hour? We gave them an additional 1 hour for the ACES coordinators, 3 positions, and also for 2 of our campus safety officers who felt we needed some additional time for them as well. So basically, they agreed and we agreed to this, and so I have signed and both has Keith signed the motion.
Motion by Bender. Second by Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve memorandum of understanding between Southern Prairie Unified School District and California School Employees Association regarding additional compensation and designation translation.
And we discussed with them because the district often has need, as the board is aware, even during an expulsion hearing or during an IEP, or there are oftentimes that we need someone who can literally read and write Spanish and be able to translate. There's a lot of academic language, especially in an IEP or 504 plan. And so we decided that we would come to an agreement on one set amount above and beyond what that person would make on their regular job during that hour or 2 hours that they're translating. And so that's the basic gist of this interview.
So basically, it's an additional stipend.
Yes, it's so much per hour.
Right. So motion.
Motion by Vincelette, seconded by Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve revised tentative agreement between Southern Creighton Unified School District and California School Employees Association collective bargaining agreement for July 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2023, dated July 25th, 2022. That just doesn't sound right. Because they're in the middle of the dates.
Yes, I just want to say that it was a real pleasure coming to the bargaining table with the CSEA team. Leanne, Robert, myself, and also Mr. Tim Salazar from Schools Legal represented the district, and it was a real joy to work with CSEA Keith and his team, Keith Hargis and his team, in coming to an agreement that I think was very fair and equitable to both sides. So they have ratified the tentative agreement, and so we ask for board approval tonight.
Second.
More. Motion by Moore, seconded by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Approve revised 2022-2023 classified salary schedule increase effective July 1st, 2022. And that's the schedule you have on the back of our packet, correct?
Correct.
Do you hear a motion? Go ahead. Motion by Vincelette. Second by Hepburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the following list of personnel with the change that we had earlier. Do you hear a motion?
I've got just, the change is fine. I just got one question. And when we've got new athletic director on board, and you can help me answer this question. But you had a great football coaching career and athletic director career, undefeated. It'll go down in history. Is the athletic director involved in some of the coaching staff? I know we get the head coach, he goes out, but does the athletic director actually sit down with them a little bit and sort of approves them too?
I can tell you that for these, at the time, I was the athletic director, so I actually, after Jamal came up was approved, that following week, we actually went to SKUSD. We actually sat to talk about philosophies and stuff like that. So all of these men that are on here were there.
Okay.
So we actually did go over philosophy and stuff like that. And we planned to do more of those, but then I switched positions. But yes, so we should be sitting down. And same for the basketball. I know they're not on here, but I know that they're going to be asking for another, not another, but a future assistant coach. Same thing. I actually brought in my questions for that I used for the basketball coach, for the assistant coach. Just as an informal, just hey, are we on the same page here? So yes,
I just want to make sure that was all touch bases.
but I will say, Mr. Brother, I was the one that wanted to do that. It's not something that's set. I said that we need, especially after last year, we need to have more input as the school side, not just on the coach.
And the athletic director is also in charge of making sure that all the coaches are certified with CPR, all the, I forget what they call it,
Concussion,
concussion protocol.
You know, it's
first
all,
aid, CPR. They have to, I believe, and Robert might get, I think they have to do a sexual harassment and all that.
Yes.
Because they're, right.
and it checks through the school district. Okay. I just want to, I know I did talk to Jim a little bit. My biggest concern is sportsmanship, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
We really want to push that this year.
Unfortunately, Jim pushed all the way up through the National Federation. So everybody is pushing it, especially if there's a shortage of officials, because that's what Jason is the lack of sportsmanship.
I can't speak for anybody else after my school district. I want to make sure it's pushed here.
Hey, we are pushing. Motion.
Motion approved. We got a motion and I'll second.
Motion by Moore, seconded by Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, can I get
You're up.
Yeah.
Motion by Finch.
We get out of here.
Who's second?
I second.
Seconded by Hepburn. All in favor? At what time?
8:43.
Thank you. Thank you.